That's my general understanding of the policy. If I'm wrong, I'm willing to correct my statement and take down this video. Just saying. But anyhow, yes, that's my thoughts.
So what's your forecast for five bedroom HDB prime location, like this Dawson thing?
Yeah, I take a conservative approach. I also think 1.9. So I think the 2M is a very like technical analysis like that, right? A very strong psychological resistance for people to pay up 2M. So I also take 1.9. No, 1.99 lah, huh, to year end. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Backholder Pod. Today, just hit the Business Times. We have a really exciting headline. 5-room HDB flat at Margaret Drive sold for a record Singapore dollars $1.73 million. And I think there is not much info about regarding this, but anyhow or anywho, it's basically a 5-room flat near the Dawson estate, and they basically broke the record for, I think, being the most expensive HDB resale flat in Singapore. I think prior to that, there's another 5-room at City View near Henderson, which is near, I believe, Red Hill, Tiong Bahru area, and that was sold at around 1.59 million last month. And this month, this Dawson estate is near Queenstown. I believe it's under 10 minutes that you reach MRT. And I think increasingly, there is also some sort of a sentiment where you see more and more HDBs breaking the $1 million mark. And now I think $1 million HDB that people find it surprising, that was like a thing of a past. Now people are breaking 1.5, 1.7 like nobody's business. So I think just wanted to open to the floor, maybe get Kelvin to comment first. What's your thoughts when you first read this particular piece of this particular headline?
I think by now I'm not surprised that we could be reaching 2 million in just by Christmas time. But this unit is, I guess, is a good unit, right? 45th floor near MRT, and it's a new unit, and it's somewhat a spacious unit. So with the same amount, like 1.7, you go and buy a condo, you'll get a sibei tiny 2-bedroom condo. Okay lah, you'll get swimming pool lah. But nowadays Singaporean work until so hard, where got time to go swimming also, right? Except for Eric lah, yeah. But so I think this 1.7, it relatively speaking is a good price to pay, however high it is. But I think you still have to see, like 99 years later, it will still turn to zero. So that's the ironic thing about HDB, right? On one hand, you're paying so high price that on the other hand, it's going to zero. Yeah.
I think the key fact here or the difference is that we know that we are going to launch the new housing system or policy, right, which is Prime Plus and the normal BTO route. And considering many of these, like City View at Henderson and even this one at Margaret Drive, they are probably going to be considered as prime if they are launched today. However, this was actually launched pre the new policy changes. So a lot of the restrictions like the 10 years MOP, the clawback, income limit, etc., all these new, I guess, mechanism is not applied to these older flats, which also happen to be prime. So that's why, I guess, in a way, they're bidding up the price by so much because the restrictions are basically not applicable to them. So that's also just an additional layer of context on why they're going for so expensive. And also on the side, I believe now for a lot of all these new prime flats, and they are no longer building 5-room flats. From how I've been looking over the last 3 or 4 cycles, the biggest is 4-room. So if you want prime area, you want spacious, you want big, you don't want the 10 years MOP, then all these instantly their valuations will be elevated by a large extent because it's basically like a supply constraint, right? And then you don't want to be constrained, then you have to fork out a very high price, which kind of is like not intuitive because the government created so many policy measures is to try to tone down the prices, right? Maybe moving forward, all these new, I guess, PLH model, they will be cheaper, but all these older flats, more antique ones with the old policy in place, they can continue skyrocketing because the demand is like extraordinary. So maybe I just want to get Bunti to share opinions or thoughts on this.
If I have a budget of, let's say, 1.8 millions and just want to move to somewhere else, upgrading, right? I'd rather buy this unit and not a condo. I do agree with Kelvin. Because when you think about like what are the metrics that determine the price, right? People want high floors, people want large unit, they want new unit, they want close to city, they want close to MRT. I think this unit is like everything is like score full marks, So, and you get a decent place to stay, and maybe you stay for like 5, 10 years. You sell it later. Chances are you can sell it at even higher prices, because like Kevin said, by end of the year, by Christmas time, it's already 2 millions, right? So 10 years later, it could be 3 millions already. So I do think that it makes sense, judging from other high price HDB is also, like 1.2 to 1.5 millions, right? This one, just because it is like really, it has all the attributes. So I do think that it makes sense. Plus, right, if you look at house prices, right, HDB and condo, although they are two different markets, but they are still linked together. So if condo prices is high, then there will be this group of buyers that will say, okay, it's too high now. I can't afford, like, for the size that I need, right? I can't afford 2.3 millions. Why not I just buy HDB at 1.7 million and get all the good stuff, all the good attributes, right? So I think market is still efficient in this one. It's just that for whoever that is thinking of upgrading, spending 1.6, 1.7 millions is still huge sum of amount. Better think twice first. I think that's like you need to assess your buying power. But just talking on this property, I do think that there's no surprise there. That's my comment.
Wait, but sorry, Bunti, in terms of like if we really go back to the 初衷, basically the genesis of HDB, right? Or the entire organization itself.
Yep.
I think their mission is to provide affordable, quality housing and a great living environment where community thrives.
Yep.
So I'm not too sure whether do you believe that, given that there are still different asset classes, if you compare condo and HDB, does HDB in general as an asset class still fulfill or still strive to fulfill that?
Yeah. I think they did a great job when you view it from like a macro basis. Like overall, right, there are still units that are priced at, like between 300 to 700,000, which is, I would consider affordable. But if you are very picky in terms of the locations, in terms of the which floor it is, in terms of like how close it is to your favorite MRT stations, some people they say, oh, it's not enough. It is close to like any one MRT. They need it to be a specific MRT, like Queenstown, right? So then if you are so picky, then you have no choice. I mean, the price is just higher because of the supply and demand. But me as a buyer, right, the only complaint that I have is what you raised just now, Chiking. There's simply not enough like new units, 5-room new units. So I think that it is under supply now. That's why there's a lot of demand pushing up the price. I do hope that in terms of like what units to build, right? I think they should really build more larger units like the 5 rooms, because now if you just shop around, right, it's almost like you can either choose new units with like 4 rooms, maximum 4 rooms, or you choose that some very old units. I do think that they need more larger units, also to encourage Singapore household to have more children.
Actually, won't leh. Why would they want to build a 5-room? The birth rate is going down. 5-room is only suitable for like big families, right? So
Actually, 5-room is only like 3 bedrooms, so it is like decent, like like larger unit, but it's not like we are asking for like 4 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms, right? So that one is a bit like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that 4 rooms is still like for those who have 3 children, right? To them, it's just like too small. So I do think that there's undersupply, especially the newer units.
I think the thing now is recently they are saying like all these are outliers, right? We've been hearing the argument for like a very, very long time already. They keep saying like, oh, this 1 million HDB is an outlier, then 1.2 is an outlier, 1.5 is an outlier, now 1.7 outlier. But you notice that the average transaction price, right, for the new 5-room in good locations, most of them are trending upwards towards 900 plus to 1 mil minimum for good location, 5-bedroom. So they are not outliers. The 1 million mark, right, is now like the norm for new 5-bedroom, good locations. So these outliers are like how I put it, it's like indicators towards where our market is heading. So I think another 5 years time, you probably look at it like 1.5 mil is the normal price for 5-bedroom. Yeah, so that's how I see it lah. I think there are going to be more and more people that will want to buy this price point of HDB, which means that the OCR, right, like now they are doing like 2 million for 3-bedroom.
That's
New
condo,
launch.
right?
Yeah, new launch for OCR. So when I say OCR, I'm referring to condo already, yeah, because HDB have OCR classification thing. So I think they will move even higher, probably, because different classification mah. Like one is HDB, one is condo. So if the more well-to-do people are buying condo for investment and for own stay, it does look like the price will trend a lot higher. Probably about 2.5 to 2.8 for OCR new launch going forward. I think very short term. Like long term, I don't know. Nobody knows, right? But short term, if HDB is pushing these boundaries, then I think condo will be pushing it even more. So I don't know. This doesn't bode very well for people who are looking to buy. I was just talking to my friend, right? I was just telling her that, hey, this looks like all the young folks, like 30 plus people, like very well to do. Their income is like doing 10K per month per person. So I was just asking Kelvin, does he have the stats for Singapore? Do you? Like people earning 5 digit a month? What's the proportion? It seems that it's going up by quite a lot.
I only have the median. The median is like
5K. Yeah.
actually for professionals they are reaching they are around 10K already. Professionals lah. But the median for that age range is still around like 5K. Median of all the occupation is about 5K. Median of professionals is about 10K.
Yeah. Then I think it's the professional people who are pushing up these prices. Yeah. So that's the trend.
Actually, just to add to what Eric said, right? I think $1 million HDB is already a norm.
Okay.
Okay.
So you are saying the 1 million is the norm.
Correct.
From there.
Okay. So I think just to add on to what Eric was commenting on, right? I think 1 million moving forward, even in the eyes of HDB, right? It's already the norm. It's not the, I guess, what was the term that Eric used? It was not the exception. Yes.
Outlier.
So in a way, right? Because if you look at the new prime housing that's being released over the last 4 cycles, the benchmark pricing or the indicative pricing when they try to apply the subsidy on 4-room flats, I'm not talking about 5-room flats, 4-room flats only, which is I think 90 something square meter. The benchmark pricing they give is usually 800 to 1.1. So meaning HDB already recognizes this benchmark and they benchmark the new subsidy on this benchmark. So meaning if today, let's say after the 10 years MOP you fulfill finish, I presume that after the 5-year build out, which is a 15-year time frame, this price is going to substantially climb again, unless there is touch wood, something happens, something major happens. If not, actually, to be honest, if you think about it, in theory, a lot of all these new prime location housing, after you build finish, immediately this is a 1+ million HDB already because they sold you at 700 plus, despite having that kind of clawback. But the indicative or the market pricing, implicitly, we really know that, okay, you already own $1 million property. Of course, with all the subsidies and debt and whatever. But those put aside, this is the new benchmark pricing moving forward for all these Holland V lah, Tanjong Rhu, Queenstown lah, Red Hill lah, all those places like this whole core central region. So that's why, honestly, I think moving forward, I think it's a very interesting trend, and I look forward to how this whole thing is going to play out in trying to make sure that median income, which is like what Kelvin said, I think around 11K on a household median income basis, how is it going to keep up with this million, whatever? Yeah. Anyone has any other comments?
But I think the target audience for this 1 point something million is not the median people. It's for those households that they are earning like 10K plus but can't afford a condo. Basically, they are sandwiched between a condo and HDB. So they can only like stick to HDB, like Alan Saktam a bit. So yeah, they are caught in this very weird situation. Like for Eric's kids right now, like 10 plus years old, when they grow up, I think their HDB are going to be like $2 million and onwards already. But with that being said, I still think HDB is still affordable. It's still affordable. Like I said, if you are earning 10K, you don't go and buy some 1 point something million HDB. Just go with, even my place, the HDB is only like 500K. But granted, it's an old unit. I think for Eric's, it haven't go past a million yet, right? Yeah, so...
Wait, 500K is for how big?
A 4-room, but it's an old unit. So maybe 1,000 square meter, I think. Yeah, it's very spacious but not as big as my Malaysia home. Yes, yeah. So personally, I wouldn't spend this kind of money at least on HDB. For condo, I would see the appeal of that, because once you spend this money on condo, then your every few years your condo will get what is that redeveloped or something, reacquired, redeveloped. So in a sense, you won't really lose your capital. But for HDB, unless you upgrade this condo thing, is you're going to depreciate later on. Yeah.
I think correction, Kelvin, it's 1,000 square feet, not 1,000 square meter. 1,000 square meter is 10,000 square feet. It's
Okay.
bigger than, I think, a lot of landed houses.
Still smaller than Kelvin's house. But just
Yeah.
curious, right? Like this, I mean, I'm thinking like what trend or what are the ingredients or what are the causes that can make the average prices come down? Because we have seen that interest rate is already jacked up since 1-2 years back, right? But it seems like people are not deterred from buying or bidding up the prices, even though interest rate is a lot higher. We are not in zero interest rate environment. Then what's next, right? Do we really need like another round of cooling measures, or what do we like? What does the government need to do to bring down the prices?
But the bigger question is, why do they need to bring down the prices?
Because they need to keep it affordable. Because
But
I'm thinking
you
like, for
say it's
example,
affordable already, what? Like,
okay,
Kel say
the cheap one
affordable,
are
right?
affordable.
Yeah.
But the trend is not, we are trending towards us pricing that is no longer affordable. Because I'm comparing property market in Singapore versus, let's say, like KL, right? Malaysia property market isn't doing very well. And I think if you compare these two market, one big difference is that for KL properties, there's a lot of supply. And I think this is also to do with government policy. So I'm just thinking like in Singapore situations, right? If government want to prevent this kind of situation, they will just have to find a way to increase the supply, right? But question is, can they do that? Can they come up with some policy or some like changes to entice more developers, develop more units, something like that? I'm just curious. Do you guys have any comment on that?
They could just increase the what is it called? Is it TDSR or something like that? Where people can't borrow
That's
that
cooling
much money.
measure, right?
Another thing is this income ceiling thing. Right now it only applies for, I think, BTO only, right? It doesn't apply to resale. So they can just slap this rule onto the resale. Straight away, your HDB property will crash.
But it's not in the incentive of the government to crash the HDB prices anyway, because if you look at in terms of proportion of household wealth, a large part is in properties. So if they do crash, then the wealth effect comes,
No,
then all the multiplier, then economy slows down.
not to
Right.
say they want to crash it. It's more like whatever price that is currently selling at least keep it at current level instead of keep going up like 10-15% every year for the next 5-10 years, right?
But I think it's free market, supply and demand. Like what Chicken always like to say, right? Like
I think free market only applicable to condo. Like if let's say if we complain about condo prices is too high, I think this is okay. This is really free market. But we are talking about HDB now. It shouldn't be a free market, right? Because if it is free market, I want to buy another 2 more units. Cannot be done, right? Because we are all restricted. One
Thinking in
household, only one
terms of-
HDB.
thinking in terms of pricing, not in terms of how many you can buy. Yeah. So
I'm saying it is not a free market. It is a controlled market. So they can always put on more control to cool it so that it remain affordable, especially for the young families.
okay, I'm gonna take your reasoning last time. If you cannot afford it, then just stay at Ulu Place. It's so cheap at Ulu Place, and then you stay at second floor and then face the rubbish chute. Every morning, very fragrant. Then you get the cheapest price.
I'm imagining Eric become a politician and say this kind of sentence.
Cannot, I'll get cancelled. But it's really true, right? Like there's a huge discrepancy between the prime, like this 45 story, and then prime location near to MRT, like just MOP. All the attributes are like very good. There's no clawback, no what minimum 10 years MOP. So it's all like it's the best, really, very spacious. So I don't know, you got scenery, you got amenities, everything is good. But if you want this 又高又香, it cannot be cheap, ma. There's this, remember there's this trade off, right? That we say 你又要快又要好又要便宜, right? No such thing in life. So it's either you want like good amenities, good location, then the price will be high. But if you got lousy amenity location, is like the birds won't even fly there, then your price is cheap. So I think you can find your own equilibrium. As of now, I think the people are still getting their flats. Like they can get some sort of a subsidy, right? If let's say they are in financial trouble, like not doing very well, government will still subsidize here and there to help them own at least a small property. So I think big property is hard to say lah. Like, how much do you want to control it? They are already controlling the BTO, like already subsidized, but resale a bit hard for them to control the whole market lah. If they control this whole market, right, then I don't know what is the economically, what will it do to the artificially suppress your demand? But what will happen?
I think they are already trying to artificially suppress the demand by using the Prime Plus model. Because what Kelvin said about the restricting income ceiling, right? It's already, by the way, for resale PLH models, there is an income ceiling. So it's only for existing current resale properties. Those are free for all. So technically, they are, like Punti said, it's a controlled market. The government hands just come in slowly. So like you just don't see it, but the hand is already there. So it's just how they want to move the market in a way. And honestly, if you think about it, right, a large part of how the pricing of the current HDBs, it's kind of linked to each other. Yes, I believe that condos do kind of pull the HDB prices together. Then when you see a lot of all these high price HDB, the 5-room will pull the 4-room together, the 4-room will pull the 3-room together. Because at the end of the day, when I make a transaction, there is all the trade-offs, whether I want a good location, I want a big unit, this unit versus that unit. And then all these comparative pricing comes into play. So this will this will come into the consideration of your buyer psychology, right? So everything will link to each other. And then when prices keep going up, then the new BTO being released into the market, right? The government will take a benchmark from this elevated prices again. So in a way, actually this whole system is self-fulfilling, right? The prices keep going up. BTO set a new benchmark, meaning last time BTO even at 4-room, right, at good areas, maybe 500K max. Now it's going at 800K. So if your BTO, which is subsidized, is already at 800K, the existing owners of the area cannot be sell below 800K, right? So if there really is a statement that they want to put out saying that HDB is supposed to be affordable, I'm trying to benchmark the price, they can very well, let's say the benchmark is 1.1, they sell the HDB BTO at 500. You see how you're gonna justify that then you don't want to pay such a high price, then you wait for 5 years for it to build, and then you get locked in by the restrictions lah. But evidently this is not the case. They are trying to keep pace. Then everybody keep pace with each other. Then inevitably you will keep pace until it goes to the moon lah, in a way. And one thing is what they can do. Then I guess in a way I believe that was Taman. Back then he was a minister, but now he's president, right? President Taman. He was saying that what they want to do, the ideal scenario is let the market does do its thing. But at the same time, the government at the back, they try to do very targeted subsidies. So then they try to do clawbacks. Then they give you even more subsidy. Not enough money, they give you even more subsidy. They want you to stay in prime houses. Then if you are not very high income, they'll give you a lot of subsidy. But then at the end, they will take back a lot. So now it's like 8%. I wouldn't even be surprised next time they subsidize even more, then they claw back 15%. That's how they, I guess, balance the social equation in trying to make it cheap as well. But I think in terms of if you want to say market economics or dynamics don't work, this one I don't believe. I think it's still a very good director of resources at the end of the day. So yeah, but yeah, this keep pacing thing, no choice. Like if the government really keep pacing, like HDB keep releasing BTO and it keeps pacing to the new benchmark, there will never come a point where suddenly prime location, last time they sell 800, location nearby sell 1.1, then they sell 400K. Like just then they basically they're destroying the valuations around the area. So that's why they are kind of stuck. Like what they're supposed to do. Then that's why they do targeted subsidies. That's my general understanding of the policy. If I'm wrong, I'm willing to correct my statement and take down this video. Just saying. But anyhow, yes, that's my thoughts.
Actually, in a way, it's a bit similar to the COE system, right? COE system. So basically, if you got money to throw away, you go and buy a car. You go and pay $100,000 for the COE, which depreciates to 0 after 10 years. So this is the same thing for HDB, right? You got the money, you go and buy a 1.7, it depreciates after 100 years. But if you are poor, then you go stay at ulu places. Come stay with me and Eric. Come stay nearby. Maybe not Eric. Eric's going to move soon. So yeah, so that's the thing. Singapore is this very unique place where if you are rich, you can play the game. If you are not rich, you can also play the game, but in a poorer way. Either way works, right? You can still survive in Singapore. Yeah.
Bunty,
Nothing to add.
Eric?
I was just thinking, right? Make a guess lah. How far do y'all think this will go? Like maybe in the next 2-3 years.
What are you insinuating? Like, why do you ask this question?
No lah, I'm just wondering, like stocks, right? We'll say how far Nvidia can go. You remember? I think we made a video about this like a few months back or half a year ago at the start of the year, something like that. We say, oh, Nvidia can go how high? Then that time we were guessing like 600 around that ballpark.
Yeah, haven't reached there.
Haven't reached yet, right?
Yeah, haven't reached.
Eh?
It's 100 plus only. We'll be there soon.
I think Bunti is trying to guess like me. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, I think just my opinion. I do believe that economies move in boom and bust cycles. So we are definitely in the boom era. I don't know when the bust will come, but it seems like increasingly politics. Sorry, I shouldn't say politics. Governments of the world, they are quite incentivized to follow the new modern economics theory, which is to save first, think later. And I think considering the last two cycles, which is the near recession in the US in 2022 and 2020 pandemic, if the 2022 Singapore not very affected. But I think in the pandemic, there was a lot of handouts and whatnot to basically try to save jobs. They redeploy all the cabin crews or travel-related people and stuff like that. I do think that at the end of the day, the only determining factor to keep the housing prices is salary and the constant paying of mortgages. So as long as this can be kept up, game will continue playing and the merry-go-round will continue becoming merrier. So as long as there's no huge steep recession, I think at most property market will just stay still. Like, I mean, it's in the incentive of, I guess, HDB to keep the market still as well. They don't want to crash the market. I think it's in nobody's interest that they want to push the prices down. If not, everybody will feel poor, like at least in Singapore's context. So yeah, but I think barring any major recession that might be external and the Singapore government step in and still a lot of companies are pulling out, your China companies, your US companies all pull out, they fire a lot of people, then that will cause the major recession. But the caveat is I don't think it will come very soon because of how the previous actions that's being guided by governments of the world. So yeah, that's just my general thoughts.
So what's your forecast for 5-bedroom HDB, prime location, like this Dawson thing?
That is not under the PLH lah.
That's right? Not under PLH. What do you think is like the next 2 years? How high will you
Keep
go?
push until 2M.
2M. That's your forecast.
2 years, 26, right? End 2026.
Yeah, end 2026. 2 million.
Yeah, around there.
2 million also. Kelvin?
Actually, won't 2 million be reached by Christmas?
Yes.
Actually, I think that let's say we talk about like 2-3 years from now, right? It is possible that it hit, let's say, 2.4 millions before it come down to 2 millions. Because I mean there could be some slowdown, but before it hit the slowdown, maybe it just continue to go higher. Who knows, right?
We don't know. That's why it's just a guess, ma. So Kelvin says by year end 2 million.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a good guess. I think by year end, right? My guess is that can hit 2.2.
So we are guessing year end. Bunti, you guess year end how much?
Kelvin guess year end.
I don't know. 1.9?
1.9.
Yeah, I take a conservative approach. I also think 1.9. So I think the 2M is a very like technical analysis like that, right? A very strong psychological resistance for people to pay up 2M. So I also take 1.9. No, 1.99 lah, year end.
So I say 2.2. Year end, let's check back again.
Yeah.
Sekali 2.5 already.
Won't 2.5 by year end. No.
Okay, let's capture this. 2.5. Okay, thanks, Shiking.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
No.
Can close.
Nothing. So feel free to leave in the comment section down below on what are your own particular predictions of the HDB market. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.